Welcome back to the deep dive. This is where we take a whole stack of sources, articles, notes, research, and just boil it all down to what you really need to know to get informed and fast.
hmm
Today, we're moving past the moment of sale. We're diving into the essential, ongoing responsibility of a financial professional. We're talking about service after the contract is signed.
That's right. Because for so many clients, that initial contract is really just the beginning of the relationship. We're focusing on these critical junctures in managing retirement savings.
The moments where a good agent is worth their weight in gold.
Exactly. And you, the listener, you need to know that service isn't passive. It's a very active process. It has to accommodate life changes, and this is crucial. It means staying alert for other strategic opportunities for the client.
Okay, so our mission today is pretty clear. We're going to extract the essential knowledge about converting registered retirement plans. We're talking RRSPs and DCPPs.
And we're going to get into the nitty-gritty, the detailed mechanics of just daily contract maintenance.
Because that small stuff like handling deposits and paperwork, that's often the really high-stakes stuff when it comes to compliance and, protecting the client.
It absolutely is. Let's start with the big picture.
The core expectation, then, is continuous service after that initial contract is delivered. I mean, a client's life changes, right? Jobs, retirement dates, goals. And a good agent has to make sure those changes are accommodated.
Hmm.
But when we look specifically at retirement savings, our sources point to two huge trigger points where an agent's service goes from just routine to, well, absolutely invaluable.
And those trigger points are always when the client is forced to make a high-value decision.
Mm.
First, when their RSPs, their registered retirement savings plans, hit maturity.
I can't just keep them forever.
Right. They have to convert them.
Yeah.
And second, when clients who are in a DCPP, defined contribution pension plan, leave their employer, usually for retirement, and they have to transfer those savings out.
Okay, let's unpack that first one. The classic deadline. RRSP maturity. If you're coming up on 71 or whatever your plan's maturity date is, you have a really tough decision to make if you want to keep that tax deferral going.
You do.
So what are the options, and how does an agent actually add value there?
Well, the agent adds value by laying out those options clearly. Historically, you've got two main paths to keep the tax deferral. You either convert the plan's value to an annuity, which gives you guaranteed income,
Right.
or you convert it to a registered retirement income fund, RRIF, which gives you continued investment flexibility.
Annuities. I always hear about those. A term to age 90 annuity or a life annuity sounds great for someone who just wants predictable income, zero fuss. But is that really a good fit for everyone?
Not for everyone, no, but it's a necessary conversation to have. The real service from the agent is running a needs analysis right at that moment. Is the client risk averse? Do they absolutely need that bedrock of guaranteed income? If the answer is yes, then the annuity option has to be on the table, presented thoroughly, even if it's not the most common choice these days.
And what's interesting, and our sources really touch on this, is that very few clients have all their eggs in one basket. They might have 3, maybe 4 different RRSPs from different times, different jobs, all maturing at once.
And that's where the strategy gets complex. That's where the agent really earns their fee. The service has to reflect that complexity. Maybe you recommend a split strategy.
What do you mean by that?
Well, a client might be best served by converting one RRSP into an annuity for that guaranteed income, that stability.
This
The
foundation.
foundation, exactly. And then converting another RRSP into a RRAF for that continued flexibility and potential Yeah. for growth.
So you get the best of both worlds. A part of your income is guaranteed, and another part is still liquid. It's in the market. It sounds sensible, but doesn't managing both an annuity payment and a RIF portfolio just create more work?
On the investment side, absolutely, it's more administrative work. But the payoff is that you're de-risking the future. If you relied only on a RRIF, you're running the risk of a market downturn forcing you to sell when values are low.
And the annuity protects you from that.
It's market-proof income.
Yeah.
The agent's job is to manage that complexity so the client doesn't have to worry about it.
All right, let's pivot to that other big trigger point. The DCPP members. When they retire or leave a job, those savings are usually locked in. They can't just take the cash and run.
That is a crucial distinction. When a DCPP member retires, they must transfer the value of their savings into a contract or an account that is specifically designed to pay out an income.
So it's non-negotiable.
It's non-negotiable. It's dictated by pension law. You can't just move it into a regular non-registered account.
And that's where the agent steps in to help them navigate this world of locked-in income contracts.
Exactly. These accounts, you've probably heard of them, things like locked-in retirement income funds, LRFs, or life income funds, LRFs, they're specialized. The rules on withdrawals, the minimums, the maximums, are all very specific because the money came from a workplace pension.
So the agent's guidance there on which contract to choose and how to structure the withdrawals, that could dictate a client's financial stability for decades.
For the rest of their lives. It's a massive decision point.
This leads us right into that debate we mentioned earlier, annuities versus RIFs. The sources are clear that RIFs have, and I'm quoting here, eclipsed in popularity the traditional annuity. So why does everyone seem to prefer RIFs?
It really comes down to control and opportunity cost. Historically, RIFs let the client keep making decisions. They choose the investments, GICs, mutual funds, segregated funds, what have you.
They stay in the driver's seat.
They stay in the driver's seat. They keep access to their capital to market upside. Annuities, traditionally, meant you hand over a lump sum for a fixed, often pretty conservative rate of return. People just prefer having the options a RIF provides.
But even with that popularity contest, the core value of the annuity is still there. Dependability. It's a source of guaranteed income. You don't manage it, you don't make decisions, you just get the check.
Precisely. And that lack of a management requirement is a huge benefit for some retirees. They just don't want the stress of checking the market or timing their withdrawals. It's set, it's reliable, no matter what the market does.
This brings us to a huge economic factor. Let's talk about interest rates. For more than a decade, we were in this super low-rate world, which was just terrible for annuities.
Terrible. Because the return you could guarantee was so low.
But around 2022, that all shifted, and pretty dramatically.
That shift is a potential game changer for the annuity market. I mean, annuities are directly tied to prevailing interest rates. When rates were near zero, the insurer couldn't earn much on the assets that were backing the guaranteed payout.
So they had to offer a lower payout to the client.
Right. The client was essentially penalized for choosing certainty.
But
now that rates are higher, and if they stay at this level or even climb more, annuity rates become way more attractive. The insurer can earn more, which means they can offer a better guaranteed stream of income.
And that could bring a lot of renewed attention to annuities.
It absolutely should. It creates a much better value proposition against the constant pressure of managing a RRIF.
So we've covered the big strategic retirement decisions, the what and why of conversion. But even the best strategy can be ruined if the daily mechanics of service aren't perfect. Let's zoom in on those foundational tasks, starting right after the contract is signed with contract delivery.
Yeah, contract delivery sounds so mundane, right? The insurer could just mail it. But if it's possible and safe for the agent to deliver that contract in person, that is the gold standard.
Why, though? What's the benefit of actually handing it over physically?
It's an invaluable chance to reinforce the value of the product. And crucially, to answer any of those little nagging questions the client forgot to ask.
I see. It solidifies their decision.
It solidifies their understanding, builds their confidence in the purchase. It really cuts down on buyer's remorse and prevents future misunderstandings that could lead to complaints. It's a key moment.
Okay, so once that contract is in hand, the ongoing service, especially for accumulation and annuity contracts, it really centers on two main areas: beneficiary designations and handling deposits. Let's start with beneficiaries. This is high-stakes paperwork.
It's absolutely high stakes because you're dealing with the estate. Life changes, divorce, remarriage, sometimes the named beneficiary passes away, and the agent has to make sure the designation is current and reflects the owner's true intent.
And the owner can name pretty much anyone they want.
Generally, yes, as long as the designation is revocable.
Okay, explain that difference for us. Revocable versus irrevocable.
Revocable means the owner can change their mind whenever they want. The designation is fluid, but, and this is a big but, if the contract was funded by a transfer of locked-in funds from a pension plan, spousal claims can apply. And that can make the beneficiary designation irrevocable. It essentially locks the spouse into the contract unless they formally waive their right. It's a very strict regulatory requirement the agent has to navigate carefully.
And the actual process for making a change, it's not casual. It's not just sending an email.
Oh, no. It's a formal, documented process. There's a specific change of beneficiary form that has to be completed and signed by the owner. And it's critical to understand the legal weight of this. When that new form is processed, all previous designations are revoked.
Wiped clean.
Completely.
Oh.
So the agent has a clear, immediate duty to get that completed form to the insurer. immediately. Any delay could mean a deceased client's money goes to the wrong person.
That need for immediate meticulous action brings us right to the next high-stakes job, handling client deposits. This isn't just about security, it's about complex regulations.
It is. Deposits can come in as cash, a check, or a bank draft.
And what's the golden rule?
The golden rule is absolute. All deposits must be handled securely and forwarded to the insurer without delay. Time is money. Failing to process quickly can affect a client's unit values or their interest crediting.
Let's focus on cash for a second, because that word immediately brings up anti-money laundering legislation. It just raises red flags that the agent has to deal with.
That's right. Cash deposits fall under the very watchful eye of the Proceeds of Crime, Money Laundering, and Terrorist Financing Act. The agent is the frontline defense here.
So they have to know the rules inside and out.
They must be intimately familiar with the reporting and documentation rules for cash to ensure full compliance. This law essentially forces the agent to track cash very, very carefully to stop illegal funds from getting into the financial system.
And what's the bare minimum compliance for cash?
You must provide a dated and detailed receipt to the client for any cash you receive as a deposit. Full stop. No receipt, no record. It's a major liability.
Okay, what about checks and drafts? They seem a little less problematic than a briefcase full of cash.
They are. But there's a non-negotiable rule for security and processing. They must be made payable directly to the insurer, never ever to the agent personally. And if there's a policy number, that should be on the check to make sure it gets credited properly.
But no matter the format, the agent is physically holding the client's money. What are the specific stringent security protocols they have to follow?
The duty of care here is extremely high. The second you accept a client's deposit, you are basically a secure vault until that money gets to the insurer.
Right.
And the sources are very clear on this. The deposit must not be left in a briefcase or a person in a non-occupied car. Ever.
Yeah.
Even if you're just stepping out for 5 minutes, it has to be stored under lock and key in your office.
The risk is just too high.
The risk of theft and the damage it does to the client relationship, to the agent's professional standing, it's simply too high to allow for even a moment of carelessness.
That's a fascinating duality of responsibility we've really uncovered here. So what's the big takeaway? What's the core synthesis from this deep dive into post-sale service?
Well, what really stands out is that effective agent service needs this precise dynamic balance. On one hand, you have the proactive, high-level financial planning guiding clients through those huge RRSP and DCPP conversion choices.
The big strategic stuff.
The big strategic input that shapes a client's retirement for decades. And then on the other hand, you have the meticulous day-to-day compliance and security demands, handling deposits, following anti-money laundering laws, getting beneficiary forms right.
So it's both the forest and the trees.
Exactly. That depth of service is what truly protects a client's financial future and ensures legal adherence for everyone.
Absolutely. We've seen that managing a RIF means constant decision-making, which is stressful, while rising interest rates are making the guaranteed dependability of an annuity look much more appealing. So let's leave you with this final thought to chew on. An agent service can offer a perfect blend of stability and flexibility, but the choice is ultimately yours. In an increasingly complex investment world, one that requires constant management and decision-making for our RIF, how much will future retirees prioritize the simple, guaranteed dependability of an annuity over the flexibility of a RIF, regardless of the interest rate? This raises an important question. Is guaranteed certainty becoming the new luxury?
It's something to think about.
Thanks for diving deep with us. We'll see you next time.